Today at Strong Roots Farm, I'm going to show you how to critter-proof your garden.
I'm Jared McGinnis, live in Southern Ohio with my awesome wife Jenny. We have 4 sons, Colt, Gideon, Ruger, and Gatlin. This is a story of how we sold our new home in the suburbs, purchased an old, unserviceable farm, and began to transform it into a local food source for us and our local community. We're on a mission of faith, family, and healthy food. Please subscribe and come with us on this journey. We are Strong Roots Farm.
So we've got our market garden inside a perimeter fence. So the cows are out here in the pasture and the barn lot is up here towards the house on this side of this perimeter fence. So all the way around the garden I do have a major perimeter fence, but I'm still getting some critters, and today I'm going to show you how I alleviated some of those. Now at first it was just my kids getting in the garden and not walking in the aisles and tearing up stuff, and then it became my Tyrannosaurus Rexes, these dinosaur chickens that I got, and as we got along, as stuff started coming up, I started having more problems. So my 3 main big size pests, so other than bugs, we're talking deer and rabbits and coons.
Raccoons try to get on our back porch. Mama just takes them off with a broom.
Yes, raccoons. They ate lettuce. Did not know that the raccoons would come in and tear up my lettuce. You can see I've got a kind of a slow spot here, and right here is some remnants of the raccoon tracks right around this. Now it rained a little bit this morning, so it washed it away a little bit, but the raccoons were getting in my garden. So here's what I did. So I put up electric fence all around my garden. So you have some options with your raccoons and your rabbits. You can trap them, you can kill them. Same with the deer. I kind of like these things on my farm. I don't really know a great purpose for the raccoons, but I like having the rabbits around. They're nice to look at, the deer as well. And I would have fed them had they just ate one head, but no, they had to come in and take a little bit off of each one. So in order to keep from killing them, but keeping them out of my garden and out of my food, I put up this electric fence. This is what we would call single strand poly, but I've got 3 lines of it, okay? So I put two lines really low here. I've got a line about 4 to 6 inches off the ground, and then I've got another one about 4 inches above that. Then I went up to this 2.5, 3 foot line here, and I ran that for the deer. So this is electric fence. The power is ran from the barn. I like this option because the chargers that plug right into your 110 are much higher on the joules. I'll take you over and show you my charger in a second, but so I got electric fence here. Just keep them out, don't kill them. Also keeps my chickens out, but it doesn't hurt them. And then the deer, this will help them, but the deer can obviously jump this. So I found a new secret for deer. So my secret for deer is caution tape. I don't know why, but they're afraid of this stuff like nothing else. So you can see here, I've got it all around my perimeter of my garden. And then every now and then, I tied it to my poly stakes as well. And every now and then I've got these little tags hanging off of it, so it whips in the wind. When the wind whips just a little bit, this sounds kind of like a rattlesnake. I also took this over here, spin around and not make you dizzy, over here on my opposite side perimeter fence and put that out. Now, I'm gonna keep spinning. As the deer come back through here, they come out this way is a pond. They come out of this woods and they come across my pasture and they go over here to this other set of woods on my neighbor's place. But they found their way in here. I found deer tracks about 10 feet from my truck. So they're coming in. I need a gate here, but the deer are deathly afraid for some reason of this caution tape. It's cheap. It was like 10 bucks for 1,000 feet, and it does the trick. They're staying away. In fact, I saw them about 100 yards out in the pasture, and they heard the whipper of the caution tape, and they immediately ran away. So when the wind whips, it moves and it makes a sound, and they hate that. So hopefully the caution tape, obviously that's not going to hurt anybody. It's just to caution them that if they come in my garden, I'm going to have to shoot them. But stay out of my garden, and if I have to feed you some corn, I will. Just don't eat all of our family stuff. So this is a good, safe measure. It's good for urban environments as well. If you have a deer population, that's a problem. It looks kind of tacky if you can see it from the road, but if you tell some people you're doing construction, they won't really mind. So it's a good, safe measure. It's cheap. You can put this around your garden. Won't keep the coons or rabbits out, but it does a number for the deer. The scarecrow doesn't really help the deer. The caution tape does help with the crows a little bit, but it's amazingly cheap, and it works amazingly. So one side of my garden butts up to my cattle fence. So I use some screw-in electrical fence outlets over there. But then I had to use these T-posts on the corner. So I wanted the corners to be strong. Along the lines, I use plastic poly. So they're like $2 at TSC, or you can get them online a little cheaper. One thing I do recommend though, if you have T-posts, spend the extra money on these ones that have the locking clip. So I wrapped it around those and tied them in. That holds this string really tight, okay? And then I'm gonna go over and show you my charger now, how this all gets charged. So my charger, I like Gallagher. Whether it's cows or sheep or whatever you have, pigs even on the netting or chickens on your netting, Gallagher, I don't buy anything besides Gallagher chargers. If you're looking for a charger, one thing I would recommend is look where it's made. If it's in New Zealand, New Zealand's got their stuff right on these electric fence, okay? These guys know what they're doing. I try to buy American-made stuff. Gallagher some of it is made in America, but it does have the technology from New Zealand. So I like Gallagher. You can buy it at Premier One. They have some fencing supplies, but I went right to Gallagher.com and purchased this one. This has about 0.8 joules, okay? So if you're not familiar with electric fence, it's measured in joules, a little bit different. The ones at TSC are a lot lighter than that, maybe 0.08, okay? So Gallagher's where it's at. It's a very hot fence. Now, the hookup. So I've got my Gallagher charger mounted to a piece of plywood on a 2x4 in the ground. Ouch. It's measured to, the ground stake is in, and I wrapped my ground stake around it, and then the red goes to the fence, okay? So electrical cord goes up to the house. For some reason, I had about 5 of these trash can lids, but 2 trash cans. So I use that as kind of my rain cover. So my line that goes over to my fence, you can see that I've looped it down to each one. So I tied several knots on the top line and then several knots as I went down. I also did this drop down so that all 3 lines are charged several places around, so that if the charge isn't connecting very well somewhere, it'll go back through and backfeed. So the charger goes all the time. If I'm working on the garden or I have kids out here, I always unplug it. So that's one thing you have to kind of remember. A switch would be nice if you had an outlet with a switch where you could just turn it on. If you're gonna have a switch, I do recommend that switch also runs a light bulb. So if that light bulb's on, you know your fence is good. This is what I use. If you're buying stuff for electric fence, remember Gallagher. Premier One does have some good chargers, but I'm sticking with this brand. I also have a solar Gallagher unit that I use to move my paddocks for the cattle. I got one more thing to show you on the electric fence. So down here on this corner, this is where I started the fence, and you can see I made knots and loops, and then I attached these quick attach. So the plastic is not charged, but the metal on both ends is. So what I can do is I can turn the fence off, unhook this here, and run through here with my rototiller. This is the part of the garden we haven't tilled up yet. This is going to be our fall and then winter production on this side. So we're working our way this way, but it's important to have an entry point. So if you wrap this electric fence all around, you always have to climb over it. It's really going to be a pain. Make sure you put yourself in a gate. These things are $4, I think, a piece. So they're going to last you a long time. They tie on both ends and they hook on this end here. So I've got 3 of them, 1 for each line. I can turn it off, unhook them, and then I tied to this poly stake. I wrapped like 3 times and then tied a knot there. So when I unhook it, it doesn't all unravel back. So I hope this video about protecting your crops helps you, okay? So now I want to make a note of being safe. So make sure that you don't have children around this electric fence or that you teach them properly. This fence does tick, so if they do get shocked, they'll pull away. It won't hold them there. It's not like a prison or anything. There's not a full charge to it all the time. Every 2 seconds it has a tick, or second and a half. But make sure they know this will zap them and it will hit them hard and it will scare them. It's not going to burn them, anything like that, but it's going to be enough that you're going to have a crying kid. So be safe with it. Watch what you're doing. But this is a good way to keep pests out of your garden, okay? So caution tape, amazing product, amazingly cheap. Gallagher fence chargers, and I used Gallagher turbo wire as my poly wire. Poly wires are the same thing. There's qualities and prices. I recommend I stay with the Gallagher wire, but you can use any type of wire with a Gallagher charger. They will also work with the netting. The netting is better. If you can afford the netting, put the netting up, but it's expensive. It's like $300 for a couple hundred feet of it. Okay, so That's the way I did it. I hope it helps you. Please subscribe to us and keep watching and keep growing your own.